Hey there, it's Shauna. Welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for June 4th. This week is all about finding resonance. And I've titled that this week because we have a lot of energy that involves Pluto and Neptune, and these planets are all about finding a sense of resonance within yourself and with others. I want to start off this week actually with a definition of what resonance means because it really spoke to me regarding the energy of this week. So resonance is a noun, the quality in a sound of being deep, full, and reverberating. The ability to evoke or suggest images, memories, and emotions. And I love this so much because these two definitions really speak to the power and the energy of Pluto and Neptune that we have happening this week. So I'm excited to share the astrology of this week with you, and then I have 3 tips for you to have an amazing week. So first things first, we have Venus opposite Pluto at the very beginning of the week. This is exact on Tuesday. And this is known to be kind of a challenging aspect because it's an opposition, so there are 2 different things that are fighting for your attention, and they're very different things. So we have Venus, which is about connection and socializing. Venus is in Cancer right now, and this is an energy around wanting everyone to get along. It's wanting everything to be smooth. Venus in general is about the niceties. It's like let's have everything as peaceful and calm and beautiful and harmonious as possible. Pluto, on the other hand, is about getting to the truth of something. It's about really digging into the deep, dark, secretive, and most honest and most authentic parts of a situation. So Pluto does not care about niceties. Pluto cares about authenticity. And so this may come up in the realm of relationships, romantic, friendships, bosses, co-workers, roommates, etc. Everything is all fair game, I think, here. I think the way to really use this energy is to lean into the most helpful side of each planet. So definitely leaning into that Venusian energy to connect and to allow a sense of nurturing within yourself and with others. And then the Pluto is to really be authentic, and not like nice authentic, not like, oh, I should be nice to this person. Like, what are you really feeling? What's really going on with you? And how do you connect in a way that honors yourself as well as the other people in your life? So good luck with that. It's intense, but I think that it'll provide like a deeper level of connection with the relationships that are most important to you. The other thing that we have happening this week is we have the Sun and Mercury square Neptune. And so the Sun and Mercury, the Sun is about ego and your identity, what it is that you're here to express. Mercury is about your thought process, communication, logic. And then Neptune is about connecting energetically to things. It's related to meditation, mysticism, creative work. Neptune is also known to dissolve boundaries. And so this is also kind of a challenging aspect because it can symbolize where there is a sense of maybe confusion or not really having a clear path forward, questioning, who am I, what is my place, what am I here to do? All of those things may come up during this time. And so if you're feeling that way, don't freak out, it's okay. I think the best way to handle this kind of energy is to go with the flow, to listen to your gut instincts. If there is not a way forward, then wait. Hold as much as you can. Allow for space to hold that confusion or the not feeling super clear, and just let that be for right now. You don't have to have everything all figured out this week. Meditation is also really helpful during this transit. And then the last thing that's happening this week is we have the last quarter moon in the sign of Pisces. And so this adds to that Neptunian energy because it's in the sign of Pisces, which has similar themes as Neptune. Pisces is about self-reflection and meditation and connecting to yourself at a deep inner level. It's also about connecting with energy work, the collective unconscious, and creative work as well. if that wasn't enough, this last quarter moon will be exactly conjunct Neptune. So like heavy Neptune influence this week. And the last quarter point in the lunar cycle is really this time of finding solace, finding a sense of closure around things that you've been working on. It's kind of like a time of reckoning, like, okay, like this is what works in my life, this is what doesn't work, this is what I want to start to release or process in my life. These are other things that I want to put my energy towards. It's kind of like this time of pruning away what it is that, like pruning away the clutter, so to speak, is what I like to think of. It can also be a time where you don't feel super energetic as well, because it is the waning cycle and there's tons of Pisces and Neptune. So you may feel like you want a lot of downtime this week, especially when this happens on Wednesday. The last quarter moon is on Wednesday. So I think the big theme, the overarching theme this week, why I titled it Finding Resonance, is because this week is not necessarily about like forging ahead and taking action. It's more about connecting with yourself, what it is that's true for you, and what it is that you resonate with at a very deep level, like what it is that you feel the most true for yourself. And sometimes that takes time and meditation and reflection to figure out. And so definitely take the time this week to do that. And then I have 3 tips for you to really tune into this energy. Tip number 1 is to reflect on your feelings. So super simple, you can do this journaling or whatever, but I would really notice like what it is that you're feeling. Especially if those feelings are what I would call not nice feelings, if those are like not positive feelings. Even more encouragement for you to really reflect on what it is that you're feeling, and like be curious about that. Like, why am I feeling this way? I don't know, and just kind of like let it be there. I think that so much when we reflect or journal and do any kind of self-reflective process, there can sometimes be a tendency to want to reflect, and if it's like a bad thing, to just like chuck it and try to change it really fast. This week is not really about that. Or like life is not really about that, but that's a whole other TED Talk. I would say if you're having feelings that feel particularly intense or somber this week, reflect on those and let them be there. They will change naturally. So that's tip number 1, to reflect on your feelings. Tip number 2 is to be honest with yourself. So this is super important whenever we have transits with Pluto involved, because Pluto does not care about like things being nice and pretty. Pluto cares about you being the most true to yourself, even if that's uncomfortable. And that doesn't mean that you need to act on a feeling or to share something if it feels uncomfortable, but the biggest thing is that you're honest with yourself. So that's tip number 2, to be honest with yourself. Tip number 3 is to hold your experience. And what I mean by this is that like whatever you're feeling this week, those feelings that are uncomfortable, or if there's a feeling of not knowing what action to take, how to make a certain decision, as much as you can. I mean, I know we have to do the things that we have to do, but I encourage you to hold that experience for yourself, to hold that like uncomfortable feeling, because that may come up this week. And the trick to this energy, like the Pluto-Neptune energy, is not about making a quick decision and just doing something. It's really about holding that uncertainty and then allowing for something to click into place when you're holding that. And it will. It's kind of like falling asleep or meditating. You can prepare yourself for the experience, but you can't make it happen. You prepare yourself for the experience and then you wait. And so that's kind of the tone of this week. So that's tip number 3, to hold your experience. So those are your tips. And I have a card that I'm going to pull for us. So this, I've been really enjoying sharing with you all the tarot deck that I've been using lately, and so I'm gonna pull from that. So this is, as you know, the way that I like to do these is not necessarily like guidance or what you should do. It's more like this is another layer of energy for the week. So just more information for us to understand what it is that's happening, and so that we can feel into that. Ooh. So I pulled, this is the Two of Swords. Hold it so that you can see it. So I love, I'm gonna see if I can, there we go, that's better. So I love this card so much. Look at how beautiful this is. So this card is all about making decisions. And it denotes where there's a period of like uncertainty sometimes, because the person is blindfolded, they can't see, and then there's the two swords, which represent two different options. And so this to me is like perfect. It's like, okay, she's like holding and waiting. She's holding the energy. I love that the crescent moon is in here too, and the water in the background. It's a very still moment. Very still moment of like holding that energy. So that's what I would interpret it. I'm curious what you think when you look at this card. So that's your horoscope for the week. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, please share it with a friend who you think would enjoy it as well. And if you want to get more of me, you can find me on Neo Feminine TV. So I have, Neo Feminine TV is a live broadcast that I host every single Thursday on YouTube at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And so last week we talked about the archetypes, the astrological signatures of an empath. And this coming week, because of that episode, I'm going to talk about how to read your astrology chart, like some of the basics as far as, you know, looking at like aspects and houses and that kind of thing, because you had a lot of questions last week on like some more technical things. And so I thought it would be fun to do like a really a quick and dirty, like this is how you look at your chart and how you look at like some of the more prominent signatures and like versus just looking at things piece by piece, like looking at the holistic view. So we'll talk about that. It'll be fun. Also, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube under Neo Feminine Astrology. And if you're curious about working with me, I do counseling, coaching, and astrological work as well. You can find more information about that on neofemininetv.fireside.com. So until next week, I'm wishing you a wonderful week, sending lots of love, and I'll talk to you soon. Namaste.